Over a billion Indians were filled with pride on this Parakram Divas when we celebrated the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. 7 decades after India won her independence, Netaji, a principal architect of the struggle, is finally getting the recognition he so rightfully deserved. But as if on cue, the parade of pseudo-liberals who were unable to come to terms with India moving a step closer to recognizing and celebrating her own heritage have begun opposing this change, tooth and nail. As we approach 75 years as an independent nation, should we still look at the past to glorify the merciless colonial overlords that rule us? Instead, shouldn't we commemorate those that gave everything for our freedom, including their lives? Hello and welcome to New India Junction. I am Richa Divedi and this is The Bottom Line. We are all aware of who Netaji was, but sadly some of his most remarkable achievements have been cleansed from historical records until recently. Did you know Netaji is regarded by many as the first Prime Minister of Free India? Now consider these facts with respect to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. He was the head of the Azad Hind government, one that he said was the provisional government of Free India. He was in command of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and some territories in present-day Manipur. The sovereignty of these territories was protected by the Azad Hind Fauj, the Indian National Army. The Arzi Hukumat-e-Azad Hind Day, also called Moirang Day, is actually celebrated to commemorate the hosting of the Indian tricolour in Moirang, Manipur by Netaji. The Azad Hind government was recognized by Germany, Japan, the Philippines, Korea, Croatia, China, Italy, and even Ireland. In the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Netaji had circulated a currency as well, and it is a well-known fact that he had, even as far back as his Congress presidency, launched the National Planning Commission that was aimed at India's reconstruction. Are these not the functions of a legitimate government? A government maintaining order and prepared to work for the progress of independent India. At a time when politics in India was dominated by compromise and settlements, Netaji championed Purna Swaraj. In fact, cooperative federalism, where a strong center complements local autonomy, was an idea that Netaji was close to. Was that not exactly what we needed? Is it not what we have in the new India? Are we then wrong to install a statue of Netaji near India Gate, close to the functional centers of our democracy? Not just Netaji's statue, the same people who questioned this installation are also questioning the merging of the Amar Jawan Jyoti with the eternal flame at the National War Memorial. Some are saying it is an insult to India. Now consider this. India Gate was commissioned by the British. It was designed by Edwin Lutyens and inspired by the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. It has some 13,000 names inscribed on it of the soldiers who died during British conquests. Most of these names are actually of British soldiers. Under it burns the Amar Jawan Jyoti, installed in 1972 to commemorate the victory in 1971. Also, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier collectively represents the soldiers who lost their lives during the conflicts post-independence. It would have been the smallest extension of a nation's gratitude to have their names immortalized. Sadly, however, not a single name is mentioned. How can a British-era monument with just a few thousand names, that too from before independence, be considered a National War Memorial? Did India's military conquests stop when the British departed? For decades, veterans, relatives of martyred soldiers and serving personnel had yearned for a war memorial in honor of those who made the supreme sacrifice in defense of our nation. Sadly, to no avail. But today, just a stone's throw away from the India Gate stands the National War Memorial, dedicated to the nation in 2019 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The memorial has been designed by an Indian firm, keeping in mind our millennia-old civilizational ethos. The Amar Veerta, Tyag and Suraksha Chakra make a Chakravyu formation. The names of over 25,000 soldiers who laid down their life for our country are etched in gold. At its center burns the eternal flame. Is this not a befitting tribute for the supreme sacrifice from India's brave hearts? Why then must we have two jyotis? When all ceremonial functions like the laying of a wreath before the Republic Day parade are held at the National War Memorial, why must it not be the monument that immortalizes our soldiers? Moreover, the canopy that once housed the likeness of King George V today showcases a hologram of Netaji and will soon be the seat for a grand statue. Is that not the perfect example of delinking ourselves from an era of oppression and imperialism? If we examine the British rule in India, it relied heavily on the notion that come what may, their military might, even when it was made up of Indians, was unquestionable. Who disrupted this? Who was it that invoked a nationalistic spirit amongst soldiers and recruited them into the Azad Hind Fauj? Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. In 1946, Indian sailors also rebelled against the British military in support of the INA, shattering the idea that the Britishers were in control. Did this not force the empire's hand, leaving them no option but to accept Indian independence? Should we not honor the man who orchestrated this? Over the last few years, there has been a notable change in our attitude, thanks to Prime Minister Modi, who himself sported an INA cap as he unfurled the tricolour at the Red Fort on the 75th anniversary of the Azad Hind government. Parakram Divas, renaming the islands of the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago, as well as a Sankalp Smarak, honouring Netaji's efforts, museums dedicated to Netaji and the INA throughout India, his statue at the India Gate, naming awards in his memory, declassifying papers about his life and times, urging the youth to take inspiration from him. Is this not how we should have honoured Subhas Chandra Bose from the start? Prime Minister Modi in his address said that India is beginning to correct the mistakes made in decades that followed our independence. But why did it take us almost 70 years to start celebrating Netaji's achievements? Why was the revolutionary side of India's freedom struggle brushed aside? Why were we made to believe that our independence was because of the efforts of just one family? In their struggle for relevance, are these so-called intellectuals prepared to politicize even the sacrifices of our armed forces? You decide.